how can you master the universe when you can't even master yourself? How could you ever expect to control reality when you can't even control yourself? Why would the forces of the universe submit to you when you can't even submit to yourself? Unfortunately, or fortunately, self-mastery is a prerequisite to the materialization of your desired reality. And a mistake that a lot of people make is neglecting the aspect of self-mastery, because unfortunately, nothing is compartmentalized in the mind. How you govern yourself is how the universe will govern you. And more often than not, we are ignorant to how we actually govern ourselves and fail to do so to an adequate manner. Now, the act of self-mastery across many different cultures and different spiritual traditions, there's the devil. You can see the devil drawing. It's good, isn't it? The monkey mind, of course. This one is good. It's good, isn't it? It's good, isn't it? The primal brain to the scientists. To the religious people, it's the devil or shaitan. To the Buddhist, it is the monkey mind. To scientists, it is known as the primal brain. And to spiritualists, it is known as the lower self. Now, the truth of the matter is the name is irrelevant. The concept is the same, and you must master it in order to master your reality. So as always, relax. You're gonna get some. What are you thinking?
Someone said Bruce Wayne is a trust fund superhero.
Tell that nigga to shut up. How dare you talk crazy about Bruce Wayne? Trust fund superhero.
I agree with
Even if you were born into that trust fund, you could not be Batman. See, this is what the streets don't get.
I don't know anyone who wants to be Batman.
Literally me.
Okay.
I always say, niggas that like Batman grew up broke. Niggas that like Spider-Man had a rough time growing up. Cousins were doing the most to you. Niggas that like Flash wish they were the fastest in school. Everybody else is pretty much irrelevant, for being honest. Did you know he begged to stay with me? He was a man and not for me. What are you thinking? When you married him. You don't know that song, do you, lad?
I do so.
Tony Braxton. That's actually the song that Burna Boy sampled.
Shout out Burna Boy.
Perfect. So, what color today? Let's go with purple. Let's go with blue. Perfect. So, make sure you take your notes and leave them in the comments as usual. The first point is this. How you govern yourself will ultimately be how the universe governs you. Now, a realization that you need to come to is that there is no disconnection between you and the universe. The universe that you live in is a direct result of you, specifically your state of consciousness, self-concept, or the frequency that you operate at, which are all interchangeable terms, all alluding to the same things. I've broken down frequency and what frequency is made up out of a multitude of times. Frequency is made out of the beliefs that you have, the expectation that you have, the way that you react to reality, your degree of conviction, your degree of conviction, and your attitude as follows. Now, as I said, how you govern yourself will be the way the universe governs you. Now, unfortunately, most of us are unaware of how we actually govern ourselves. An inability to discipline yourself will naturally lead to an inability to discipline the universe. I need you to understand there is no separation between you and the universe. How you govern yourself will ultimately be how the universe governs you. Now, if you mock yourself internally, then it will seem as though the universe is mocking you. If it feels like the world is against you, it's because internally you are against yourself. If it seems like the universe is giving you a hard time, it's ultimately because you yourself are giving you a hard time. Now, I spoke about this many a times. One of the base mechanics of the universe is what I call the first M of the universe, which is magnification. Now, the universe will always magnify how you govern yourself and the relationship you have with yourself. And the irony of it is, a lot of religious people speak about having a relationship with God, but you can no more have a relationship with God than the one you have with yourself. And that's a bar right that down. Because if you can't even treat the materialization of God well, how could you expect God or the universe or consciousness to treat you well? And that's a bar right that down. Because what you need to come to a recognition of is how you govern yourself will ultimately be how the universe governs you. Now, most of the time, unfortunately, a lot of people don't treat metaphysics or spirituality like a spiritual science and instead treat it like a form of escapism. Hence why there's popular notions of the idea of not having to work and, things just coming to you and so on and so forth. But that quite literally goes against the structure of how the universe is comprised. There's the mental plane, spiritual plane, and physical plane. You need physical action. Now, does that mean that you need to take hard physical action? No, not at all. You will need that so long as you believe that, because beliefs create boundaries, and that's a bar that down. Your beliefs is nothing more than what you call your truth. If you want to look about what your beliefs are in the world, determine what you believe to be true of the world. Now, going back to the point about discipline, an inability or a lack of discipline will ultimately be expressed outside of you, because whether you realize this or not, the act of manifestation itself is to discipline the reality outside of you. How could you ever expect to discipline the reality outside of you if you cannot even discipline yourself? It will not work. Now, discipline is probably one of the most underused words in the entirety of manifestation. There is no materialization of your desired reality without a degree of discipline, because you need to be able to discipline the frequency or the state of consciousness that you're emitting to the world. You need to be able to discipline the frequency or the state of consciousness that you've been operating at to allow for room for your desired reality's frequency or state of consciousness to be something that you begin to occupy. Discipline is unavoidable. I need you to understand that. Get it out your head, the degree of escapism, and that you don't even need to do anything. You don't need to be disciplined, and you can do it whatever the fuck. And unfortunately, you can't. And let me explain why you can't do that.
As if someone has pirated your course.
You know what? I saw that. Do you actually have the actual comment?
Yeah. He goes, does anyone want Nero's metaphysical money course, since Nero assisted me manifesting $11,700? I'm trying to give back and circulate.
You know what's crazy? When I saw that, like, the craziest part is people messaging me like, yo, there's a guy who's trying to give your course out to people for free. And the truth of it, I was even mad. Game is game. Nigga, when I was broke, when I was broke, bro, I was downloading PDFs of books. I couldn't afford to buy books. Downloading EPUBs, pirating courses. So I'm not even mad. I'm more so, serious time. You know what? Z Library.
Yeah.
Bro, listen. I was literally, when I saw that comment, I was actually quite happy, because if I'm being honest, I don't even mind. I'm more so happy that people are going to get the information. And to that individual that was able to materialize 11,700, congratulations. That's amazing.
Send us a tenner.
Green, cool. Actually, no, that one's not that deep. Yeah, that's good. Now, the reason why discipline is an inescapable aspect and self-mastery is a prerequisite to materialization of your reality. If you cannot master yourself, you will not be able to master the universe. I will literally show you how to master the universe and why it's of the highest importance that you do so. Please do not neglect this. This is something that is foundational to everything else that it is that you've been doing. If you pay attention to the act of reality creation, it's like almost stacking blocks, right? And self-mastery is the foundation through which everything is built on top of. So please lock in. Now, as I said, nothing is compartmentalized in the mind. Nothing is compartmentalized in the mind. Say it with me. Nothing is compartmentalized in the mind. How you do one thing, it's commonly said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Discipline doesn't just extend to manifestation or reality creation techniques or studies, because everything in reality is linked to reality creation. And that's a bar that down, because nothing is compartmentalized in the mind, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. I repeat, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So a lack of discipline in one aspect of your life will unfortunately emit a frequency of a lack of discipline that will negatively alter and affect your ability to maintain discipline in other aspects of your life. And if you can't maintain discipline to a degree of conviction within you, you will not be able to tap into the most powerful word in the entirety of manifestation. I'm somebody who has been studying this for years, and I've read hundreds of books. There is no more word. There's no word more important in the entirety of reality creation than this one word. Let me show you. And I'll explain how self-mastery feeds into this. Don't worry, I ain't going to be telling you that you need to, shave your hair, change the clothes you wear, change your diet, and all of that. All of that's unnecessary.
How about spiritual crystals?
What about
So someone asked for your opinion, so
somebody asked for my opinion on crystals?
yeah.
Crystals in themselves do nothing. It's the conviction that you have in their ability to do something that ultimately activates the frequency that they emanate, because crystals, and like everything else in the universe, carries a particular degree of vibration. The vibration within that crystal is activated by the conviction that you pour into it, not because of the crystal, but simply because of the conviction that you've poured into it. Somebody can have crystals and still be completely suffering and things not changing for them, but it's simply due to a lack of belief in what the crystal is supposed to activate within them, because crystals do nothing more than reflect a frequency that you're supposed to internalize, which will then lead to a particular degree of externalization. Hence why an obsession with crystals is completely missing the point, because they're tools like everything else. Now, the most important word in the entirety of reality creation is conviction. All self-mastery is supposed to lead to this word, because if you have this word, you will not even need to do a fucking technique in your life. Believe it or not, there's people out here that will never even study manifestation, never study reality creation, but they're able to materialize exactly what they want. And it's because, whether consciously or unconsciously, they have this word, which should bring something to your mind. It's not necessarily about the study of information or the practice of information. The information and the study, the entire purpose of any form of manifestation is to lead to your ability to cultivate this one word in you, so then you can project that into the frequency that you're outputting for your desired reality, because conviction empowers frequency. Now, unfortunately, most of us have conviction in the absolute worst things happening to us. So we empowered the frequency of the absolute worst things. Now, when I say empowers frequency, it strengthens the frequency that you output and gives a more clear signal to the universe, which then easily allows for the universe to interpret what it is. Think about your frequency like communication. More often than not, when we're struggling to materialize our desired reality, it's because we're miscommunicating to the universe with one degree or another. Somebody who only speaks Mandarin and somebody who only speaks Zulu will never be able to interact with each other. Now, they can do signs and body language and all of that type of stuff to kind of come to some sort of understanding, but there'll always be discrepancies, and miscommunication within yourself will lead to miscommunication with the universe, which will then lead to you being confused as to why certain things are going on in your reality. Now, the entirety of self-mastery is to lead to this. Now, it's important we define what self-mastery is.
Someone left this long ass comment.
Please, of course.
You sure?
Please, yes.
It's a good comment still. I found one of your videos in January and you explained the concept that really stuck with me. You can't outrun your frequency. You said that if you go to the gym and you don't have belief, if your self-concept is weak, if you identify as unfit, you're going to the gym to be physically fit, it's not going to work.
Indeed, you can't outrun your frequency. Indeed.
Yep. So they said I started identifying as a fit person. A couple of days later, got the gym subscription. I don't know if he calls it that, but fairs. And
don't get onto him because he didn't say membership.
yeah. Subscription. I don't know.
One thing you guys don't know about AJ is that he's actually a prick. He will not let anything slide. If I start in front of this guy, I just know he's looking at me.
I can't lie, you jammed earlier in this video and I was like...
I'm surprised you didn't get onto me.
I was like, I'll let him slide. You were spitting, so I was like, first.
Sorry I interrupted you.
I would program my mind repeating, I'm a fit person, I'll go to the gym regularly. I was planting seeds in my mind, determined to make it a reality. Now it's my reality and I genuinely enjoy going to the gym at that time. By the time I still didn't understand the concept, I only watched one video. Then one day they said, you know what, I'm going to buy a journal. I'm going to make a list of the topics and learn each one. That list turned into all your video titles. And from there, I sat at my desk all day watching one video after another. I was dedicated. Every time I finished a video, I crossed it off the list. Some pages were 5 pages worth of notes. After binge watching so many, diving into PDF books, learning so many new concepts and applying them, I became very consistent. You said, program yourself or be programmed. Brainwash yourself or be brainwashed. Tune into your frequency or be tuned. And I remember this by heart. I remember everything by heart, as within, as without, as on heaven, as on earth, and how spirituality without the ability to control.
Spirituality.
Yeah. Say. It's like,
sorry, I had to get it.
Is the ability to control your reality is vanity. Yeah, they defo butchered that still, I ain't gonna lie.
It's alright.
I'm so grateful for your knowledge, your videos, and even AJ for being there with you and editing. My life's changing very fast and manifesting a job, academic success, and today I literally excelled at my exam without even having to study, not even a tiny bit. I just knew. I tapped into knowing as you taught us to do, and I've been having so much fun with it. Like, I'm standing on the bus, I manifest a seat for myself. When I go to the gym, I manifest there's a free treadmill for me. Sometimes I manifest people giving me money.
Muscle, building manifestation muscle.
And they said, this is so fun. It's like a game and I'm winning. Thank you again.
That's hard.
That is a long comment. I respect it still.
No, that's hard. So, to get back to this, self-mastery is a prerequisite to mastery over reality, or reality mastery. Now, the way that we can define self-mastery is as follows. Self-mastery can be defined simply as the ability for you to make your word law and follow through. Quite simple. An individual who has mastered themselves has the ability to command themselves. Self-mastery is literally your ability to follow through on the things that you know you should be doing and staying away from the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. I repeat, self-mastery is simply your ability to follow through on your words, to do the things that you know you should be doing and stay away from the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. It is nothing more than a particular level of inner authority. Now, a big issue when it comes to the materialization of your desired reality is that how can you ever expect to have authority over reality when you have no authority over yourself? And that's a bar that down. And the act of self-mastery is supposed to fill up the, let's say, tank of inner authority to such a degree that the external authority no longer has power over you. Because anytime we're struggling to materialize our desired reality, especially with my definition of manifestation, which is manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change, you can only reach a point of external or internal independence from reality when you have a certain degree of inner authority. But if you have no inner authority, it's because you have not mastered yourself. And if you have not mastered yourself, that means you have the inability for you to make your word as law and to follow through. Now, one thing that I need to make abundantly clear is that the whole purpose of self-mastery goes as follows. As I said, The entirety of any form of self-mastery from a point of reality creation is to create a degree of conviction within, because conviction is what is spoken about biblically, esoterically, when they talk about faith moves mountains. Faith moves mountains. Faith etymologically comes from the Latin word fides. Fides was a reference to a level of confidence, which is very close to conviction. Once you have a certain degree of conviction, you have the ability to make a mountain, which is nothing more than a insurmountable or an illusionary insurmountable obstacle, condition, event, circumstance, or person who is causing you issues. When you have faith, conviction, you have the ability to move that. Without conviction, you don't have the ability to move that. But the truth of the matter is, nobody ever has a problem with conviction. And I say this all the time. Like, a lot of people will be like, hey, I'm struggling to be self-disciplined. I'm struggling to have conviction. But the truth of the matter is, nobody struggles to have self-discipline, because in order for you to do the things that you feel like is a waste of time, you need to be disciplined to do it. After every fucking video that we make, I'm pretty sure me and AJ just scroll through TikTok for like an hour. You need to be disciplined in order to be able to do something like that. When you're watching a TV show, you need to be disciplined in order to do something like that. When you're doing shit that you deem as unproductive, you need to be disciplined. You don't have a discipline problem. Your problem is coming to an awareness of where you are directing discipline that you already have and redirecting it to the things that you want. Because, as I said, the entirety of everything that we're doing from a point of self-mastery, the end goal is conviction. But before you can have conviction, you need to have one thing: self-trust. If you do not trust yourself to do what you need to do, how could you trust reality to do what you want it to do? And that's what borrow that down. The truth of the matter is, you can't. Whether you realize this indirectly or unconsciously, unfortunately, you can't. The prerequisite to self-trust is discipline. And discipline is simply doing the things that you know you should be doing and not doing the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. It is quite literally that simple. And I'll explain essentially how this all works with what I call, one, the self-trust reserve tank. And this is a concept that I actually speak about in my book. More than likely, by the time you're seeing this video, my book should be in completion. Like, I mean, fully written out. I'll probably be looking for a cover or some shit. And yeah, it'll be ready to go. I'm looking to release it by sometime in May, either early May or on my birthday, which is May the 16th.
That page I read was actually sick.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was nervous when you was reading it.
Just one page. Maybe. No glaze.
No glaze.
No glaze.
No glaze. Will you love me the way you love Drake?
I love you more.
Wow. Do you promise?
Promise.
I don't believe him. I think he's lying.
I'm so serious.
And shall I tell you why I think you're lying?
Why?
We could be talking about something completely not even related to him, and you'll bring him up somehow. This color's cool.
He spent a lot of time in the game, man.
Cool. So, self-trust reserve tank. Now, self-trust is simply, quite literally, the ability or the amount of trust that you have within yourself. Now, self-trust can go up either one or two ways. Your self-trust goes up by doing what you need to and not doing what you shouldn't. That's how self-trust goes up. Remember, self-trust is a currency that internally is alchemized into conviction. Conviction is the most important word when it comes to materialization of your desired reality. Conviction, to a certain degree, is knowing. Belief will never be enough to alter your reality. Belief will never be enough to alter your reality. Say it with me. Belief will never be enough to alter your reality, because belief is belief because you don't know. And because you don't know, that means there's the potentiality for doubt. Hence why a lot of the things that we tend to believe, doubt always finds a way to creep in. And it's because we don't know. But when you know something, nothing could convince you otherwise. Nothing could literally convince you otherwise. Now, as I said, self-trust is increased, so the tank goes up. The more you do things that you know you need to be doing, and the more you're able to not do the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. When you do that, the tank goes up. Tank goes up and up and up. Until eventually it reaches max capacity. Now, as you can imagine, self-trust is depleted by you doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, or things you don't want to do. The more you do things that you know you shouldn't be doing, or things that you don't want to do anymore, or things that you're trying to break free from doing, the more you do that, the more you actually deplete the tank. And the more you deplete the tank.
Yo, I can't let you get away with that one.
Trank is crazy.
That one's crazy, bro.
The more you deplete the tank of self-trust, the less self-trust you have. And unfortunately, the less self-trust you have, the less conviction you have, so the less ability you have to materialize your desired reality. The more self-trust you have, the more conviction you have, the more you're able to tap into knowing, which is a powerful frequency that empowers the frequency of your desired reality, which will lead to materialization of your desired reality much more easily. It strengthens and solidifies your state of consciousness. Conviction does that. When you're able to tap into conviction, you're then able to alter reality, because conviction is the prerequisite to an alteration in reality. Now, a lot of people will message me and they'll be like, is it okay if I drink? Is it okay if I eat like this? Is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that? The truth of the matter is there's no one size fits all. There's not. There's no one size fits all. There's not. This all comes down to you, because this is you, your universe, quite literally. So what you know you shouldn't be doing and what you know you should be doing is always going to be unique to you. Now, I need you to understand something very, very carefully, and I'll write that after. But this can be extrapolated to a multitude of things. Eating a certain way isn't an issue unless you know you shouldn't be eating like that and you don't want to eat like that anymore. The more you do that, the more you deplete self-trust. The more you deplete self-trust, the less you have in your self-trust tank. The less you have in your tank or your reserve, the less conviction you have. The less conviction you have, the less you will be able to tap into that particular degree of knowing, which means the less you'll be able to materialize what it is that you want. If you don't want to, be fucking people the way that you are, that's not an issue unless you don't want to do that, unless that's something that you know you shouldn't be doing. And I like to emphasize this because people take a one size fits all. And what I discuss here is nothing more than materialization of your desired reality. Eating a certain way, sleeping with people, drinking, and all of these things do have spiritual consequences to one degree or another. But that isn't my purpose here. You can go find that somewhere else. The only thing that I'm here to do is to get you to understand that spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. I'm doing nothing more. My desire is nothing more than for you to enter your desired reality. And that's the science that I'm giving here, the step-by-steps on how to do that. Now, the more that you're able to do things that you need to do, whether it's eating a certain way, and I'll give a whole bunch of examples. I'll give a whole bunch of examples because unfortunately, when we think of the things that we know we should be doing and the things that we know we shouldn't be doing, we kind of overlook. I'll explain what I mean. Guys, I want to make something abundantly clear. I keep getting messages, whether DMs or comments of people who are making my videos word for word, you know, doing the way that I do things, saying the things that I say. One thing I need you to understand is that this knowledge doesn't belong to me. It belongs to God first and foremost. It belongs to the universe. So this isn't mine. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I will never get on a video and talk bad about anybody, even if I have a problem with them. Because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to get caught up in the games and all of that other shit. I'm literally just here to give you lot information, nothing more, nothing less. And I would like to think that you lot aren't giving other people a hard time because you're too focused in your desired reality. That's something I want to make abundantly clear. Like, regardless of what you may regardless of whatever you may see people say about me, I'm never going to get on here and react or say something or make a comment about anybody because that's just not what I'm on. Like, I've just never been that type of person. I don't know. I think part of it is just growing up in the ends. Like, where I grew up, there was real consequences to talking crazy about people, especially people you don't know. So I don't know how people get online and talk crazy about people that they don't know so comfortably. Because in my ends, you're getting a bang in your face, or you're getting a shank in your stomach, or you're getting shot. Like, it's really like that. So I don't know. I guess I'm different in that regard. The whole internet thing and stuff like that. Especially where AJ's from. Yeesh.
Your ends are worse than mine, Sweeper.
They're definitely not.
You know, just a few police chases, stabbings.
Just.
You know, just a casual. Maybe a few gunshots.
Did you know that where we're from, the West Midlands in particular, is the gun capital of the UK?
Is it?
Yeah. I didn't even know that.
So accustomed to this.
Cool. So as I said earlier, to revert back to a point I initially made at some point in this video, everything is related to reality creation. Don't make the mistake of thinking to yourself that the things that you know you need to be doing are simply spiritual things. Everything in reality is fucking spiritual. Hence why I said everything's related to reality creation. Nothing's compartmentalized in the mind. How you do one thing will be how you do another thing. And how you do one thing from a frame of reference of discipline can either lead to a lack of discipline or discipline. And a lack of discipline will lead to a reality that is undisciplined, and it will lead ultimately to you being frustrated since you have an inability to discipline yourself, which means you will have an inability to discipline reality because you govern your universe, and how you govern yourself will ultimately be how the universe governs you. Now, the things that you know you should be doing, like I said, it doesn't have to be spiritual things. It doesn't necessarily have to be changing your diet or meditating for a certain period of time. It very well could be those things, but it could be something as simple as being on time. It could be as simple as checking your emails. It could be going to the gym as much as you want. It could be waking up at a specific time.
What time do you wake up? 3 a.m.
Morning routine, bowl of ice, jump into water.
Banana peel on the skin.
Banana peel on the skin, pause. Don't know why that sounded crazy. Waking up at a specific time. Could also be replying to text. This one is me, because one thing about me, guys, is that I am terrible when it comes to, see AJ shaking his head, I'm terrible when it comes to responding to texts. And it's something that I'm actually going to improve on. And it's something I have improved on, and I am changing. I say that from a state of consciousness. AJ's making faces. Yeah, I'm terrible when it comes to texting. Like, you could text me, I could literally not see it. You call me and I'll answer, like, and it's actually so disrespectful. Because one thing about me also is that I'm always on time. I hate people being late. My clients will even tell you that I hate being late, but text is where I need to improve. So replying to texts.
Bro, Nero would, I'll text Nero. I'd get no reply all week. Thursday comes around, he'll be like, yo, filming tomorrow 10 a.m. But previously, it's just, I just see my blue messages.
No, it's because he sends me Drake videos all the time. What am I supposed to say to that?
They're not
It's
even
always
Drake
TikTok
videos anymore.
It is guy. It is guy.
I'm trying to connect with him on a deeper level, you know what I'm trying to say?
Cleaning. So as I said, doing the things that you know you need to do, it could be being on time, it could be checking your emails, it could be going to the gym, waking up at a specific time, replying to text on time, cleaning a room or cleaning your house when you know that it's something you've been meaning to do. The entire emphasis is this: it doesn't matter what it is that you do, you just know there is something that you should or need to do. Reaching out to a person, whatever it is, you know what this is. I can't tell you what this is. That's entirely dependent upon you. And the more you're able to do these things, the more you're able to generate self-trust. The more self-trust that you generate, the more you're able to generate conviction. The more conviction you have, the easier it will be when it comes to manifestation. Now, same way, there's things that, and bear in mind, it could be meditating, it could be a whole bunch of things, right? This is always going to be something that's unique to you. You know what it is. Write those things down right now. What the things that you know you should be doing, the improvements that you want to make, but for whatever reason you've been putting them off. Do that right now. The things that you know you shouldn't be doing. You know that you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Whatever those things are, write those down. Whether it's not letting somebody, whether it's you need to stop letting somebody talk to you in a certain way, treat you a certain way. It could be not eating a certain way. It could be not doing this in a certain way. The point is, there are things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, or things that you want to stop doing, and you need to stop doing them. Because every time that you do them, one thing that you're unaware of is that the mind keeps score. The mind keeps score. The mind keeps score. The mind is forever watching. And every time you do some shit that you know you shouldn't be doing, the mind says, deplete self-trust, deplete self-trust, deplete self-trust, deplete self-trust. And alternatively, the more that you do things that you know you should be doing or need to be doing, the mind says, increase self-trust, increase self-trust, increase self-trust, which eventually will lead to the self-trust reserve tank being full. And one thing that I didn't tell you is that when the tank is full, it automatically converts into conviction. It automatically converts into conviction. Now, conviction and confidence are very similar words. But unfortunately, the confidence that you have can only be built. The confidence that you have can only be built from the evidence of you saying you are who the fuck you say you are. Because that's all manifestation is. Manifestation is simply you coming to the universe and saying, I am this individual. The universe is like, nah, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. And it's because deep down within the depths of your subconscious, unconsciously, you are saying that you're not that guy. And you're saying you're not that guy because your self-trust tank is low. That's all manifestation is. Confidence is derived from the evidence of us and our ability to follow through our self-mastery and develop this inner authority. Because the more authority that you have within, the less you will be bothered by the things outside of you. Most of the time, you could do all this study, you could be doing everything that it is that you need to be doing. And for some reason, when something outside of you doesn't go your way or doesn't materialize the way that you wanted it to, you're completely altered internally. And that is an indication of a lack of inner authority, because you need to be independent to reality for reality to be dependent on you. And that's a bar. Write that down. Now, what often happens is this: we begin to procrastinate. That's the whole reason. Like, don't lie to me. You can lie to me, in fact, but you can't lie to the universe. You can't lie to frequency, because it will show you who you are on a subconscious level, transcending your ability to consciously rationalize, which rationalize just means rational lies, the things that we tell ourselves. And that's a bar, write that down. Your subconscious doesn't do that. It simply takes who you are at an emotional level. And
that was a bar?
What was a bar?
Rational lies.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, what's this guy smiling at?
What? Damn.
I mean, it makes sense, especially from a point of evolutionary psychology. Humans are driven by emotions, and then they justify their emotions with logic. But we do first and then justify it after, typically. So it is an attempt to tell ourselves lies with what appears to be rational.
Someone said they'll sell one of their kids to work with you.
What? What?
They said, I wish my business was making enough money for me to afford to pay Nero to help me to 2 to 5x my business revenue stream. Maybe I'll sell one of my kids.
That's I thought you was gonna say kidneys. Like,
that's what I thought.
Jumped kidneys straight to kids is crazy. It's crazy. The truth of the matter is, guys, you don't need to pay me to work with me. Guys, I keep telling you this, my videos are more than enough. You think I'm chatting here for 40, 50 minutes, sometimes even an hour and 10 minutes. I'm literally giving you everything. And I say that to clients when they work with me. But see, more often than not, the reason why when people pay me, they get the results isn't necessarily because I've said anything different. It's simply because now they've invested their money, which means they've now made an emotional investment, and emotion in of itself is the beginning steps to any form of creation. Emotion is the most powerful force in the universe. So now that they're invested, they have more desire to follow through and get a return on investment out of it. Whereas when you niggas watch my videos, you niggas think this shit's just fucking fun. Quite literally, these times, this information is everything that you need. So please don't sell your kids. And don't stress yourself if you can't work with me or buy something, because you don't need to. You don't need to. And that's something I'm going to keep reiterating. Truthfully, even my book is basically like all the videos I've made expanded into more detail with things that I haven't said before, a couple things, but I'm just building on information that I've already given you guys and really defining things more clearly and giving it practical. My book is actually split, each chapter is kind of split into 2 sections, which is principle, which is theory, and then the practical part, which is the actionable steps for you to take, whether mentally, physically, or spiritually, in order to fulfill what that chapter is trying to convey. So even with my book, like, it's gonna be the same thing. I guarantee when you buy my book and you read it, it's gonna hit you like, wow, but it's shit that I've said on YouTube for free. But it's simply now because you're paying attention. Man said sell his kids, Brother, sell a kidney first. You know what I mean?
Nah, bro, she ain't touching her body.
Cool. Somebody actually asked me, what are your favorite books outside metaphysical study? And no, I think they said a fictional book. My favorite fiction book is a book called The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which is a book of basically this black guy from the ghetto who was kind of hired on a diversity program to work with the CIA. He ended up training himself in intelligence and learning all of those things and going back to the hood to give that information back to create and overthrow the local towns. It's probably my favorite book. Other books include The Destruction of the Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, anything by Claude Anderson. Powernomics is a really, really good one. Melanin and Dark Light, a book on melanin itself. Holistic Health by Dr. Lalika Africa. It's a lot of like self-knowledge books. That's outside the metaphysical side of things. These days I'm into reading mythology though, because mythology illustrates aspects of the collective consciousness within us and how, we all embody these particular deities or gods, air quotes. They're nothing more than deifications of us internally. If you can know that your desired reality is already here or already has materialized. When you're able to tap into knowing, that's what ultimately sets reality in motion to begin to reflect your desired reality. But you can only get to a point of conviction and touch conviction when the self-trust reserve tank is full. And that will be a certain point in your head. I can't tell you when that's going to be, but there's going to be a certain point where you're like, you know what? Yeah, I am who I say I am. Or you're just going to feel confident in yourself. You're going to feel proud of yourself. You're going to feel accomplished in yourself. And ironically, those are all the things that you experience in your desired reality. So you need to feel them now in order to get there, because what you deem to be your destination is actually the starting location to get to the destination. The more that you're able to follow through on your word and make your law as word, then the universe will begin to take your law as word. And that's a bar that down. You can do all the visualizations, affirmations, scripting, and all of this other shit. But if you don't take your own word as law, how could you ever expect the universe to take your frequency as law? If it's not real to you, how could it ever be real to reality? So when the self-trust reserve tank is full, it becomes conviction. When it becomes conviction and you experience conviction, that's when materialization and manifestation comes easy. But what often happens when it comes to self-trust, there's a reason that we aren't able to do the things that we know we should be doing. And it's because more often than not, we are procrastinating. Now, here's the metaphysics on procrastination. Once you see this, it will give you a light bulb moment that you're forever gonna understand. And this is something that I came to a conclusion to as I was actually writing, because there would be days I'd literally be sat in front of my laptop screen, staring at it for like 1 hour, just like. So I know you guys think I'm an AI. I was on the phone to my older yesterday, and I was explaining to him a chapter from my book and stuff like that. He was like, "Are you an AI? Because you were just able to like record the information and you didn't breathe or you didn't stop." I don't know what that is. I'm not an AI. I'm not channeling. I don't know what that is. But procrastination is nothing more than a stagnation of energy. The reason you can't do anything is because the energy within you is stagnant. Stagnation of energy. And the stagnation of energy simply arises when the action we are attempting to take is in direct contradiction to our frequency or state of consciousness. That's procrastination. Procrastination is a stagnation of energy that arises when the action that we're attempting to take is in direct contradiction to the frequency or state of consciousness that we're in. For example, you're going to procrastinate on going to the gym, for example, because you're not in the state of consciousness or the frequency of somebody who's fit. But if you were, there would be no stagnation because that energy would flow. The energy is trying to flow, but it's running into a wall. And that wall is a frequency or a state of consciousness that is in direct contradiction to whatever it is that you want to materialize. So the prerequisite to mastering reality is self-mastery, but the prerequisite to self-mastering is an internal declaration of discipline. The issue is you don't see yourself as disciplined. You're like, I want to become more disciplined. I want to become more disciplined. Which indirectly you're confessing to the universe that you're not disciplined. And unfortunately, because you can only have what you already have, you maintain a frequency of a lack of discipline. So then the universe magnifies that and you run into conditions, circumstances, and people that reflect to you and remind you that you're not disciplined. The first step to mastering yourself is to already be in a state where I have mastered myself. I'm a disciplined person. My word is final. I'm the master of myself. All the things that you think you'd say after you've satisfied yourself to a particular point is where you need to be now. Because just like that comment that AJ read out, you can't outrun your frequency. If your frequency is reflective or indicative or implying that you aren't disciplined and you haven't mastered yourself, how the fuck could you ever take action to master yourself? You couldn't. Because you can't outrun your frequency. You can't outrun your frequency. You need to give it up. had a bad night.
I was listening to Nipsey Hussle today.
What?
I felt really black.
You finally seen the light. I told you Nipsey Hussle's hard and you was chatting shit.
I never said he wasn't hard, bro.
Do you know he actually put me on metaphysically? He put me on a book. Well,
I thought Jay-Z done that.
I don't mean like he actually spoke to me. Unfortunately I never had the privilege. But what I mean is there was an interview where once he was asked what are some books, and he was like The Way of the Superior Man, and a book called Three Magic Words by U.S. Anderson, and that is one of my favorite books. I think I even recommended that book, and that came from him. Him, bodies. I'm on season 2 of Severance.
Oh, I finished Severance, by the way.
Chill, bro. No spoilers, please.
Oh, I just remembered.
Chill, bro. Chill. See, I didn't even want to say anything.
I can't believe it ended like...
Bro.
I know Bear Man probably paused the video.
Now, as I said, the prerequisite to self-mastery is first already being in a state that you have mastered yourself, because then that will allow the energy when you begin to take action, because action does nothing more than facilitate and midwife the frequency or the energy of frequency into reality, materialize it. That will allow for that to easily flow if you're already in a state of somebody who's mastered themselves. So that's something that you need to declare. Now, a bunch of ways that I go about doing it personally, like I said, what you know you need to do is going to be relative and unique to you, and what you know you shouldn't be doing is going to be relative and unique to you. I don't have a problem drinking, so I can drink. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing for me in my head that there's something wrong with that. But if that is for you, then that's unique to you. So once again, this is unique to you. Now, some of the things that I do to exercise self-mastery is meditation. I simply sit in silence for 20 minutes. Well, these days it's like an hour, but when I first started, it was like for 20 minutes. And I told my clients to do the same thing, not because of the actual act of meditation. Well, in a sense, I'm training them to be able to consciously trigger their brainwaves into theta, because theta is synonymous with heaven, and heaven, John 3:27, a man can receive nothing unless they're first in heaven. And if you're not already in a state of relaxation, then you'll not be able to materialize your desired reality. So that's one aspect of it. But from a point of self-mastery, meditation quite literally starves the ego of what it likes to do, which is to move around and be stimulated, especially in the 21st century. When you sit down and you force yourself to move, you'll feel yourself like this. You'll just be shaken, or your mind will say, there's something in front of you, open your eyes, or it will do twitches. It will try to do things to get you to move and break from it. But the more that you're able to stay still, the more you're training your mind to say, hey, I'm the boss here, mate. I'm the boss. That's one thing. Another thing that I do is intermittent fasting, which is a bougie way of saying starving myself. I used to do like 24-hour to 26-hour fast, simply because one desire of the ego is to eat and experience pleasure, so on and so forth. So by me abstaining from that, I will say to my mind, I'm the boss here, mate. I'm the boss here, mate. Once again, I'm doing things that I want to do, things that I know I should be doing. This may not be what you want to do. That's completely fine. It's entirely up to you. Remember, everything's related to reality creation. It doesn't just extend to spiritual things. And another thing I do is silence. Now, I'm naturally an introverted, very quiet person, especially if I'm around people I don't know. But when I'm around people I talk crazy, I get cancelled. But I say all of that to say that silence is one other thing. From when we are held as babies, we simply want to express ourselves. Now, we turn into adults, and adults are nothing more than grown-up children. We still have that desire to express ourselves and to be seen, and our ego wants to do that. By abstaining from that, we deprive the ego of a fundamental thing that it wants to do, which once again reinforces a particular degree of self-mastery. Now, do I mean that you need to walk around, every day like this? No, but you get the point. These are unique to me. Now, the final point that I'd like to make is that the whole reason why self-mastery allows for mastery over reality easier is because what we call instant gratification is you satisfying yourself immediately with the things you want. That, whether you realize this or not, trains your ego to be reactive, and reaction is very different from what you need to be doing. Now, a form of delayed gratification will lead to responding. Now, reacting is to allow the external to alter the internal, and to respond is to go from the internal to the external. The more that you satisfy yourself or give yourself instant gratification, the more you're training your body to be reactive. Nothing's compartmentalized in the mind. How you do one thing is how you do everything. That instant reaction leads to now you instantly reacting to adversity or condition, circumstance, event, or a person that represents a particular degree of negativity. And that reaction will then lead to an internal state altered, now with emotional turbulence, and that particular degree of emotional turbulence will literally put you into a whirlwind of that frequency. Why do you think people say, I see red when I'm mad? It's because emotions color and distort the way that you perceive the world. And the more reactive you are, the more opportunity reality, the old frequency, has over you to alter you internally to reflect a degree of negativity. But the more you're able to follow through a path of delayed gratification, then you train yourself to be able to wait to react, which is response, which then gives you time to alter your frequency, put yourself into the state of consciousness of what would the version of me, if that version of me jumped into my body right now, how would they respond to the situation? How would they look at that situation? And through putting those lenses on you, you see the world through that. And perceiving or perception leads to projection. Perception is literally reality. I know people say that typically in a social context, but metaphysically it also is, because the way that you look at the world is the way the world looks at you. The way that you perceive one thing will ultimately be how that thing perceives you. And so long as you're able to have your perception quickly altered due to a reaction, the world then has a power to alter what you ultimately project, which leads to what you create. So that is self-mastery. You now possess everything that you need to do. Right? Possess everything you need to do. Fuck. Who cares anyways?
Real jammed.